The Bearcats get a decisive victory. Hello, everybody. Terry Bennett here on the Pilot Point Football Show, brought to you by iRick Real Estate, right here on L4 Media, as the Bearcats take care of Hal 61-13. This game was impressive in so many different ways. Once again, getting a ton of yards on the ground, but no one hit 100 yards. 328 yards total, 8.2 yards a carry, but no one hit 100 yards. That is spreading the ball out right there. Also, throwing for 100 yards. Who knew? Great win for Pilot Point, but now they have to turn their attention to district play, as they will start district play against Dallas Madison, a team that has struggled this year, but couple of caveats to that. One being, if you look at who they've played everybody above in 5A, 4A. This will be the first 3A team they're playing will be district. And also Madison, as always, is crazy athletic. They have a really good a really good quarterback, and they got a really good young wide receiver who's got 600 yards already through the first 4 games of the year. Mainly that's the guy that they're going to target, and they're going to try to throw him as many passes as they can. You know, they had a great wide receiver in last year's game, but he transferred to North Crowley. And as Coach and I were talking when we were done recording, just think if that kid would have stayed from North Crowley, they would have 2 great wide receivers that could be impact. So it's going to be an interesting ball game. Want to thank our sponsor for providing this show for you Bearcat fans, and that, of course, is iRick Real Estate. If you're buying something in the Lake Ray Roberts area, then give Chance Kirby a call. The man knows his real estate around there. He also knows his Bearcat football, as you can check him out on their broadcasts each and every week. But back to the real estate, give Chance a call, 940-300-6900, or you can text them. And man, if you're going to make this big of a financial decision, I want someone that I trust in that area. And Chance Kirby, the broker at iRick Real Estate, is that guy. All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, it's Coach Chad Worrell right here on the iRick Real Estate Football Show. Hey, you're a 3A fan. Of course you are. You're a Pilot Point fan. Hey, I just want to let you know, check out Sideline to Sideline, the Class 3A edition, each and every week over on our YouTube channel, at L4 Media Company. We also have a 4A and a 2A as well, if you just like to listen to or watch us talk small town Texas football, the best football, the real Friday Night Lights. It's Grant Goodwin, me, and our third kind of co-host, Coach X, who likes to write in with some funny musings. He's had some funny musings about Pilot Point in the 3A show already this year. So please check us out on Facebook. Just type in Sideline to Sideline. On Twitter, at Grant and Terry. And again, at YouTube, just go to youtube.com/at L4 Media Company. Terry Bennett back here on the Pilot Point Football Show. Now joined by the head coach of the Bearcats, Coach Chad Worrell. And Coach, a very convincing win against Howell last week, 61-13. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, we came out and played well from the get-go. And, fortunate enough to create some turnovers, early and get some stops, and offense is able to execute. So, overall, it was a great game for our kids.
When you look at what y'all did offensively, heck, y'all were even throwing the ball 100 yards, but on the ground again, 328 yards. I think the thing that I was impressed most about, and you and I talked about this before, is, how will this team bounce back after what happened with Lindsay? And you said you felt that they were going to bounce back perfectly fine, and they did. I didn't feel like there was any kind of, let down from that Lindsay game going into Howell.
No, if anything, it kind of refocused us, I think, and the kids, we had a great week of practice, and we have played well at home so far, and so the kids are enjoying that and enjoying the home crowd. And it was youth night, so there was a big crowd there, and I was just proud of our kids overall. Proud of so many kids, different kids made plays. We also had didn't have a kid rush for 100 yards, so putting up that many yards rushing and being able to throw the ball a little bit, and then having a lot of different kids contribute on that was really big as well.
My very next comment was going to be, I've been around you long enough to know your offense. And yeah, if you have a couple bell cows, you're fine with that. But you're old school. You're wanting 6, 7 guys to carry the ball if possible.
Well, it's just really turned into, having to have all those guys. We're fortunate enough to have several guys in the skill positions that can carry the football, and we feel confident and comfortable with. And so all those kids are playing defense. So it really becomes everybody all hands on deck for defense, and then, keeping them fresh on offense and sharing those carries. And our kids are doing a great job of being unselfish and being team players and buying in that philosophy.
All right. Well, you start district play this week. Before we get into your opponent, just 6-3A Division I, man, y'all are 3-1, Palmer's 4-0, Whitesboro's 2-2, Pottsboro's looked really good, 3-0. What are your overall thoughts of this district as you're about to start district play?
It is a tough district. I mean, we thought that last year. I mean, we knew that last year, and we knew that when we saw the schedule. And I'm familiar with a lot of the coaches and the programs in this district from just being around them over the years and playing them at different schools. And man, a lot of good coaching and a lot of good kids in this district. It's really going to be a battle each week.
All right, well, let's go ahead and start off. You take on Dallas Madison to start the district play. They're 1-3 on the year, and I know if anybody knows Madison, we're going to say this, what we always say. They have some really good-looking kids on there. They just can't find consistency.
Yeah, they've got some athletes. They've got Division I caliber athletes, and especially in the skill positions, they've got some big linemen up front. And Coach Gates does a great job with them. And they're going to come out and play hard. Last year was you look at the score last year. Of course, that was our first win of the year and first win in a while for Pilot Point. And but if you go back to that game, it was a 13-12 game in the fourth quarter, going into the fourth quarter. So, I mean, our kids know that they're going to play hard and that they've got a lot of talent out there, and we're going to have to execute.
Well, and I think, people will look at their record and see, they're 1-3. But I think one thing people need to realize is they've basically played up this whole non-district schedule.
Yeah, they've got a lot of rivalries, like, Dallas Lincoln, Lincoln Madison's a long-standing rivalry. And so they've played bigger schools and, with, a lot of athletes, and they've played a lot of competitive games. And so, they probably are ready to get to district, to play schools more their size. And I know that they're going to come over here prepared. He's going to have them prepared, and they're going to come over prepared on Friday, and it's going to be a great atmosphere and a great game.
How was practice this week for y'all?
It was good. It was hot on Monday and Tuesday and really humid. The temperature kind of crept back up on us after having some unseasonably cool games there to start. So Monday and Tuesday I thought was a little bit of a struggle just with the temperature and we got a little bit of break yesterday with the rain yesterday morning, but we had a good week of practice and good week of preparation. We found having to, obviously it's hard to simulate what Dallas Madison is going to be able to do because a lot of their offense is, a quarterback scrambling or, maybe on a busted play, somebody getting the ball and getting in space. And so it's hard to simulate that in practice. So it's just a lot of, situational stuff, working on making sure we stay on our keys and make sure we stay at home so we're there when that happens.
Well, I was going to ask you that they have a kind of a freak wide receiver who's got a lot of size, and they throw to him do a lot. And talking with Munster coaches, and they played Pottsboro, and you'll see them later. They have tall receivers. How do you defend height? I mean, that feels like one of the one things that's almost indefensible if it's working right.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, and when we're not super tall, our kids, we don't have a whole lot of height on teams. So, we got to give them different looks. We got to get pressure on the quarterback, take him out of his comfort zone where he's not able to just sit in there and throw those pinpoint passes and let them go up and high point the ball. We want to make the quarterback uncomfortable and hopefully, get the timing off on those throws because whenever you give them time and they've got the height advantage, sometimes it becomes a real challenge.
Hey, you remember in that last promo how I talked about how you could watch Sideline to Sideline on YouTube? You can also hear us on our audio-only version. It goes up on every podcast platform. Also, go to our podcast page, s2sgrantandterry.com. Also, if you like college and pro football, we have it all at L4 Media, again, over on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/@L4 Media. Now let's go back to Terry talking Pilot Point football. And Terry Bennett is back here on the iRick Real Estate Pilot Point Football Show, cutting live promos for the show. We have to do that because our other promo has some things that the UIL doesn't like to hear during a high school football game. And we like to have this pregame show on the Pilot Point broadcast, which you can check on YouTube. As I keep always saying, one of the best broadcasts, not only in small town football in all. I'm watching 5A broadcast, 4A broadcast. Chance and the crew do a great job, and so check them out. And this is going to be a good one to check out. Madison team, I think Pilot Point is the better team overall. But, man, if that wide receiver starts getting loose, it could become an interesting game. So it's a great way to start district play. You got to start 1-0. You got to beat one of the teams that you're supposed to beat. To make the playoffs, it's not just about beating everybody. You got to first beat the teams you're supposed to beat. Then that puts you in the better positions to not only make the playoffs, but also get higher seeds in the playoffs. All right. If you have any questions, thoughts, or comments, please email me, Terry@S2SSport.com. Other than that, enjoy the football this weekend. Be safe in your travels, and we'll be back here next week on the iRick Real Estate Pilot Point Football Show.